As River turned off the lights that night, she heard Thad's voice drift from the darkness of his room. "Dr. Thorne, thank you for being our safe harbor." The words floated in the quiet apartment, a testament to how far they'd come, and a promise of how far they could still go. On a bright Tuesday morning in early spring, 6 months after that desperate night when Thad carried Wren to Dr. Thorne's door, the Blackwood family gathered in River's living room for a celebration. Not a traditional one perhaps, but significant in its own quiet way. Autumn had been clean for 180 days. She sat on River's couch, her hand steady as she held a small cake she'd baked herself at the recovery program's bakery. Her hair, once dull and unkempt, now shone with health, framing a face that radiated determination and love. "Ask, explain. Sometimes we have to see our ghosts to let them go," Dr. Thorne had said earlier that day. Phoenix glanced at him, her voice soft but probing. "And you? Did you let him go?" Thad didn't answer right away. Instead, he watched the raindrops race across his window, tracing their paths with a distant gaze. Finally, he spoke, his words slow and deliberate. "I think I'm ready to stop waiting for him to be the dad I needed. I have other people now." That evening, back in River's cozy apartment, Wren proudly showed off her latest drawing, a vibrant depiction of their strange, beautiful chosen family. There was River, surrounded by books and cookies. Phoenix, her kind eyes radiating warmth. Officer Kovac, her protective smile ever present. Their mother, growing stronger each day in treatment. And Thad and Wren themselves, no longer alone. "Do you want to add Dad?" Wren asked innocently, tilting her head as she looked up at Thad. Thad studied the drawing, the family they'd found rather than the one that had failed them, and shook his head. Pulling his sister close, he smiled softly. "Number, it's perfect, just like this." 3 months into Autumn's recovery, the rhythm of life had shifted dramatically. Morning sunlight streamed through River's kitchen window, catching the gold in Wren's hair as she carefully arranged banana slices on her oatmeal to form a smiling face. Thad sat beside her, quietly eating his breakfast without obsessively watching the door or checking the time. "Mom's evaluation is today," Thad said softly to River, who was preparing lunches for them all. She nodded, adding an extra cookie to each lunch bag. Small rewards for brave hearts. "That's right," River replied. "The treatment center will decide if she's ready for outpatient care." Phoenix had explained it to them last week. If Autumn passed her evaluation, she would move into a transitional living facility with more freedom and frequent visits with her children. It was another step toward rebuilding their fractured family. "Will she live with us again?" Wren asked, looking up from her oatmeal masterpiece. "Not right away, sweetheart," River explained gently. "First, she needs to prove she can take care of herself. Then we'll talk about the next steps." The changes in Autumn were remarkable. Week by week, she grew stronger, more present. Her face had filled out, and her hands rarely shook anymore. In therapy, she began unraveling the tangled threads of her own childhood trauma, understanding how those wounds had shaped the choices she'd made. But more importantly, she'd started repairing her relationship with her children, especially Thad. Their weekly therapy sessions had evolved from tearful confrontations to honest discussions about fear, trust, and forgiveness. "I gave Mom my latest math test," Thad said, pushing his empty bowl away. "The one with the A+ on it." "She must have been very proud," River smiled. "She was," Thad admitted, pausing thoughtfully. "But she was proud in a different way now. Before, when she was using, she'd get really excited and make big promises about celebrations and presents. Now, she just sees me. Really sees me." The morning routine continued. Backpacks checked, teeth brushed, shoes tied. As they walked to school, River noticed how Thad no longer scanned every street corner for signs of his mother, or Nash. He walked lighter now, more like the child he was meant to be. Later that afternoon, Phoenix called with news from the evaluation. "She passed!" Phoenix announced, her voice warm with pride. "With flying colors!" The treatment team says she's one of their most committed patients. She's already lined up a job at a local bakery that works with the recovery program, and she's enrolled in community college courses for next semester. River shared the news with the children over dinner. Ren clapped with delight, while Thad's reaction was more measured, hopeful but cautious, like someone who'd learned the hard way not to trust too quickly. "When can we see her?" Thad asked. "She'll move into the transitional facility this weekend," River explained. Outside, the stars shone brightly in the clear night sky, casting light over a world slowly beginning to heal. And within the walls of their modest home, Samuel and Emily stood united, ready to face whatever challenges came next. Together. Every day felt like stepping into the dark for James. His whimper was barely audible as he pleaded, "Please, James, water fountain, lockers, ring a bell?" Samuel asked, his voice cold and cutting. James started crying, tears streaming down his face. "Here's what's going to happen," Samuel said, his tone leaving no room for argument. "You're going to leave Emily alone, completely. If I hear about one more problem, if I even see you looking at her funny, I'll be back." He let the words hang in the air, heavy with unspoken threats. "And next time? I swear I won't touch her," James sobbed, shrinking under Samuel's glare. Samuel gave him a small push, ensuring the message sunk in. "Oh, and James? If you tell anyone about this..." He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. "Let's just say I know where you sleep." With that, Samuel disappeared into the shadows, watching silently as James grabbed his things and bolted home, glancing over his shoulder the entire way. The next day at school, Emily noticed an immediate change. James avoided her completely, refusing to make eye contact during class or lunch. At dinner, she mentioned it to her father. "Dad, James Carter wasn't in class today, and at lunch, he wouldn't even look at me." Samuel focused on his food, seemingly unfazed. Maybe he's finally growing up. Emily narrowed her eyes suspiciously. "Dad, you wouldn't have done anything, right?" Samuel smiled faintly but didn't answer. Later that evening, Thompson was fumbling with his house keys when Samuel approached from behind. "Good evening, Mr. Thompson," Samuel said in his deep Australian accent. "We need to talk." Thompson turned around, confused, until recognition dawned on his face. Before he could react, Samuel punched him hard in the stomach. Thompson doubled over, gasping for air, but Samuel wasted no time dragging him inside and slamming the door shut. "Please," Thompson wheezed, clutching his midsection. "I don't know who you are." Samuel delivered another blow, this time to the ribs. "I'm Emily Harrison's father. Does that jog your memory?" Thompson's eyes widened with terror. "Mr. Blackwood, I can explain." "Explain what?" Samuel roared, shoving him against the wall. "How you made my 9-year-old daughter feel small. How you let other kids bully her. Or maybe you want to explain why you deleted proof of the bullying from her phone." Thompson, drunk and slow, tried to throw a punch, but Samuel dodged it effortlessly. Another hit landed squarely in Thompson's side. "You see," Samuel said calmly, "in the Navy, they taught me how to hit someone so it hurts for a long time, but doesn't leave marks." He pressed down on Thompson's shoulder in a way that made him cry out in agony. For the next 15 minutes, Samuel methodically delivered blows, each strike calculated to inflict maximum pain without visible evidence. "This," he said, landing another punch, "is for every time you made Emily cry, every time you embarrassed her, every time you ignored the bullies tormenting her." When Samuel finally stepped back, Thompson lay crumpled on the floor, sobbing and shaking. Samuel knelt beside him, his voice low and deadly. "If you ever go near my daughter again, this will feel like a soft warning compared to what I'll do next time. Understand?" Thompson nodded frantically, too terrified to speak. Samuel stood, adjusting his gloves. "And if you're thinking about calling the police, just remember, I know where you live. Next time, I won't be so gentle." He left, closing the door quietly behind him. The cool night air felt refreshing as he walked back to his car. His hands were steady, despite what he had just done. At home, Emily was still awake, reading in the living room. "Everything okay, Dad?" she asked, looking up from her book. "You were out late." Samuel smiled, though his knuckles tingled beneath his gloves. "Just taking care of something, love. Everything's going to be fine now." But Samuel didn't realize that his actions that night would ripple into their future in ways he couldn't foresee. On Monday morning, everyone noticed Mr. Thompson's absence. A young substitute teacher took his place, looking nervous and unsure. During lunch, Emily overheard students whispering, "Did you see Mr. Thompson's car this morning?" one boy asked. "He could barely walk." "I heard he got into a fight at the bar on Friday night," another chimed in. Emily's stomach tightened. She thought about her dad's swollen knuckles at breakfast. Deep inside, she knew something had happened. The next day, the principal addressed the school over the intercom. "Mr. Thompson is taking a long break due to an accident. That afternoon, Emily saw James, one of the bullies, staring at her, his face pale.